why I do this. Took a bite of, I'm always eating a caramel or something when I come home, but it's my chocolate orange. It's a little bite. Exactly. This war, Beersford, started in an optimistic spirit. Oh, I don't mean the people who really knew. We've known all along what we were up against, the efficiency of the enemy, his aerial strength, his deadly determination, and the coordination of his well-planned war machine. I mean the people as a whole, the good-hearted, muddle-headed, democratic fellow who believes what he wants to believe, that Germany will crack up, that she's on the verge of revolution, that her weapons of war are made of tin, and that her men are so underfed that they'll fall down if they try to march. All that sort of stuff. Wishful thinking, as the saying goes. Well, the war didn't go that way. It started badly and it went on worse. The men were all right, the men on the battleships and in the planes and in the dugouts, but there was mismanagement and unpreparedness, the defects, perhaps, of our qualities. We don't want war, haven't considered it seriously, weren't good at preparing for it. Well, the worst of that's over. We've corrected our mistakes. We're slowly getting the right men in the right place. We're beginning to run the war as it should be run, and we can win the war, make no mistake about that, but only if we don't lose it first. And the danger of losing it comes not from outside, not from the might of Germany's bombers, not from her seizure of neutral countries and fresh vantage points from which to attack, but from within. Our danger is the danger of Troy, the wooden horse within our walls. Call it the fifth column, if you like. It's here among us. Men and women, some of them highly placed, some of them obscure, but all believing genuinely in the Nazi aims, in the Nazi creed, and desiring to substitute that sternly efficient creed for the muddled, easygoing liberty of our democratic institutions. Grant leaned forward, he said, still in that same pleasant, unemotional voice. And we don't know who they are, Tommy said. But surely, Grant said with a touch of impatience. Oh, we can round up the small fry, that's easy enough, but it's the others. We know about them. We know that there are at least two highly placed in the Admiralty, that one must be a member of General G's staff. That there are three or more in the Air Force, and that two, at least, are members of the intelligence and have access to cabinet secrets. We know that because it must be so from the way things have happened. A leakage from the top of information to the enemy shows us that. Tommy said helplessly, his pleasant face perplexed. But what good should I be to you? I don't know any of these people. Grant nodded. Exactly. You don't know any of them, and they don't know you. He paused to let it sink in and then went on. These people, these high-up people, know most of our lot. Information can't be very well refused to them. I'm at my wit's end. I went to East Hampton. He's out of it all now, a sick man, but his brain's the best I've ever known. He thought of you. Over 20 years since you worked for the department. Name quite unconnected with it. Your face not known. What do you say? Will you take it on? Tommy's face was almost split in two by the magnitude of his ecstatic grin. Take it on? You bet I'll take it on. Though I can't see how I can be of any use. I'm just a blasted amateur. My dear Beersford, amateur status is just what is needed. The professional is handicapped here. You'll take the place of the best man we had, or are likely to have. Tommy looked a question. Grant nodded. Yes, died in St. Bridget's Hospital last Tuesday. Run down by a lorry. Only lived a few hours. Accident case, but it wasn't an accident. Tommy said slowly, I see. Grant said quietly, and that's why we have reason to believe that Farquhar, love that name, was onto something, that he was getting somewhere at last by his death. That wasn't an accident. Tommy looked a question. Grant went on, unfortunately, we know next to nothing of what he had discovered. Farquhar had been methodically following up one line after another. Most of them led nowhere. Grant paused and then went on. Farquhar was unconscious until a few minutes before he died. Then he tried to say something. What he said was this: N or M, Song Susie. That, said Tommy, doesn't seem very illuminating. Grant smiled, a little more so than you might think. N or M, you see, is a term we have heard before. It refers to two of the most important and trusted German agents. We have come across their activities in other countries, and we know just a little about them. It's their mission to organize a fifth column in foreign countries and to act as liaison officer between the country in question and Germany. N we know is a man, M is a woman. All we know about them is that these two are Hitler's most highly trusted agents, and that in a code message we managed to decipher towards the beginning of the war there. Wait a minute. We managed to decipher. Towards the beginning of the war there occurred this phrase: suggest N or M for England, full powers. I see. And Farquhar? As I see it, Farquhar must have got on the track of one or the other of them. Unfortunately, we don't know which. Song Susie sounds very cryptic, but Farquhar hadn't a high-class French accent. There was a return ticket to Leehampton in his pocket, which is suggestive. Leehampton is on the south coast, a budding Bournemouth or Torquay, lots of private hotels and guest houses. I've been to both those places, Bournemouth and Torquay. Nice in England. Lots of private hotels, I said that. Amongst them is one called Sanssouci. Tommy said again, Song Susie, Sanssouci. I see. Grant said, do you? The idea is, Tommy said, that I should go there and, well, ferret round. That is the idea. Tommy's smile broke out again. A bit vague, isn't it? He asked. I don't even know what I'm looking for. And I can't tell you. I don't know. It's up to you. Tommy sighed. He squared his shoulders. I can have a shot at it, but I'm not a very brainy sort of chap. You did pretty well in the old days, so I've heard. Oh, that was pure luck, said Tommy hastily. Well, luck is rather what we need. Tommy considered a moment or two, and then he said, about this place, Sanssouci. Grant shrugged his shoulders. Maybe all a mare's nest, I can't tell. Farquhar may have been thinking of Sister Susie sewing shirts for soldiers. It's all guesswork. And Leehampton itself, just like any of the other of these places, there are rows of them. Old ladies, old colonels, unimpeachable spinsters, dubious customers, fishy customers, a foreigner or two, in fact, a mixed bag. And M or M amongst them? Not necessarily. Somebody, perhaps, who's in touch with M or N, but it's quite likely to be M or N themselves. It's an inconspicuous sort of place. A boarding house at a seaside resort. You've no idea whether it's a man or a woman I've got to look for? Grant shook his head. Tommy said, well, I can but try. Good luck to your trying, Beresford. Now, to details. And I'm going to stop there. Oh my goodness, not even 10 minutes. But then we'll be at chapter 2. Love y'all. Mwah. Be sweet, don't be ugly. Good night.